name's Theo. I'm holding a microphone that keeps falling out of my t-shirt, and I also play guitar in a couple of bands. One's Mr. Lizard, one is Open Palms, one's very noisy, one is less so. And as a guitarist who spent quite a long time looking at guitars, I saw Dave Roberts post this on a Facebook group. Essentially, it's like an amateur builders group, just kind of posting up some prototype designs, and it looks absolutely fantastic. He called it the new Islington model, and it's got this real mix between like a Rickenbacker and a Gibson with like an Art Deco kind of twist, which I really enjoy. Like the way the scratch plate's designed, like the way the kind of headstock is. Again, nail the headstock. Very hard thing to do first time out, but he did it. So congratulations, Dave. This one's for you. So yeah, the actual design itself, here's one, there's probably pictures you can find if you actually go on to his Instagram page, but very similar design. Had Filtertron, more traditional Filtertron than we've got in here. Had I believe it was a rosewood fretboard, I think, or it might have been sported maple. It was a bit darker than this, and it was like a kind of natural wood burst in terms of the colour, but the same shape, same kind of cuts in the headstock. And yeah, I just messaged him and I just asked him, like, are you selling these? He said, yes, I am selling these, as is my goal as a guitar builder. And yeah, just kind of built from there. Like we had a discussion about the specs, kind of things that I wanted from the guitar, and he ended up crafting, this one, the number one from the Ancoats Guitar Company. So, continuing to talk into this annoyingly small microphone. So yeah, with the approach that I'm assuming this is what Dave takes for everyone, it is a custom instrument. So while it is the new Islington shape, like the neck, the nut width, pickup structure, that's all obviously set up by yourself. So one of the key things I think probably led this to being quite an easy encounter is generally he sets up a 12-inch radius and it's a 25.5-inch scale, which is pretty much ideal for me in terms of instruments. That's what I like to use. After everything I've used and gone through over the years, that's where I've settled. 25.5-inch scales with a 12-inch neck and radius is what I find the most comfortable to play with. So that was all simple enough. He had a lot of experience with that, is what he told me. And going by the finished result, I trust him on that. But for me, the main thing that he really nailed on this was the neck. So I have a 620, a Rickenbacker 620 that I adore. It's a smaller scale, I believe I think it might be a 24-inch scale, I think, or maybe a bit bigger. But the neck itself is incredibly chunky. It's in between like a C and a D. And the nut width, which is what we use for this, is 41.5 millimeters, I think is the scale. Don't quote me on that, I don't build these things. So he did manage to basically just base this off that neck. So I gave him the specs, sent him obviously a few links, because the hand instruments, they can vary slightly, but obviously described my experience of it as well, and just came back with something that's absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's really chunky, it's really big, you can really get your hand around it, and it feels like home, I guess. Sometimes you just spend a while and you just find the right place, from a guy in Manchester with his wood. And yeah, it's phenomenal to play. Like, the one thing I think that kind of really surprised me about it is the fact that it is quite fast as well. Like, sometimes when you have like these quite chunkier necks, they tend to be more stereotyped towards rhythm playing, whereas I tend to do a little bit of a mixture of both because I'm really bad with other guitarists. And yeah, he absolutely nailed it. It feels fast to play, it feels comfortable, it doesn't hurt my hands at all, and yeah, I would put a lot of faith in this guy. I would say, if you want an instrument, so you should go buy one of these from him and tell him what you want. He'll probably do it pretty well, like he did this pretty well. So, a bit more details about the guitar itself. The neck itself is a set neck. That's the main thing. I think Dave's really doing with these. I mean, hopefully he'll be able to do a video of himself one day and stand in front and tell you more, as opposed to me just guessing. But yeah, like the crux of all of his designs, from what I've seen, are he'll take like something quite established, use a set neck, and put that towards it. So I've seen him do offsets in the past that have set necks, and I think that's kind of a unique approach because it does allow a lot more range to the neck. So one of the things I really enjoy about it is because I tend to play around here a lot, like the 7th to the 15th fret, because we like to play weird stuff sometimes. I like not jutting up against the body, which is what I tend to find with like a lot of Fender guitars and a lot of typical Gibsons. So it's nice to kind of have that clearance space there. It's just where I feel comfortable, and if you play that, you probably feel very comfortable with that as well. And yeah, also the set neck as well. This is probably a lot of superstition, probably a good way of putting it. A lot more sustain. You tend to get like a bit more of a thicker, lower mid, throatier growl out of things, I find, with a set neck. Obviously, that's not gospel. If you have like a Strat style guitar with a set neck versus something like this with Filtertrons, the Strat's obviously going to be a bit more bitey, a bit more that more like single kind of chime out of it. But I find it helps. The other big thing as well is the pickup. This is something I've not really tried before. This was kind of like my first time using these as well. But this is I think it's a Super Black Cat Filtertron. It's by a man called Jane. His last name escapes me. I'll put it on the screen at some point if I remember. He runs a pickup company called Creamery, who are fantastic. I've used their stuff before on a other Strat. Got some of these all 88s and they're fantastic. So when I found out like that's exclusively what Dave's using, that really cemented my decision to grab one of these. And one of the pickups on offer was this Filtertron. So I thought I'd give it a shot. It's got a quite a lot of the energy's in the lower mids. It's quite a hot pickup as well, I find, but it still has like a really nice clean sound. But again, obviously, if you want something a bit more like a Strat or a Tele, you're not going to get that out of this. But it has this really kind of nice bright attack to it as well. There's like a nice searing edge to everything, which I really enjoy. Because again, I don't really tend to play much power chords in a lot of the bands that I play, so I like to have like a little bit of clarity just to kind of pick out the details. Otherwise, a lot of my playing does tend to get lost behind a wall of noise, which sometimes you want, sometimes you don't, but it's nice to kind of have something just to kind of open the curtains a little bit. And I find this has really worked. Like I never really considered Filtertrons before, especially bladed Filtertrons, but I probably will end up using something similar in another builds going forward. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. Like fantastic design all round, really. If he's going to keep using Creamery pickups and everything, which is what I believe he's told me, then yeah, 100% you should definitely buy one of these things from him. He has a lot of sites as well. He's got Instagram, Facebook. If you search for Ancoats Guitars, you will find him online. So I heavily recommend dropping a message on Instagram, have a look through his build, see what his progress is, and see if he can do something similar for you as well. So yeah, go and buy one. And Dave, build me more. works for me as well. Oh, the microphone fell down. Like the Les Paul Junior design, which I quite enjoyed. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, that was going really well, by the way. That was good.
That's terrible. It's all terrible. It's all trash. Maybe I should just hold it.
I mean, that's
'Cause it
totally
keeps
fine.
fucking
You could
falling
even
out.
just say to the camera, this thing keeps falling off me, so I'm just
Right.
going to hold this.
So I'm just going to hold this very tiny microphone.